Alma. That was wonderful. Kevin Chamberlain. Oh, you know him. Raised in Morristown, New Jersey. Morristown, too. Earned his Bachelor of Fine Arts in 1985 in acting from none other than Mason Gross School of the Arts. Since then, he has gone on to have a prolific career in Hollywood and on Broadway that includes multiple Drama Desk and Tony Award nominations, including for his portrayal of Uncle Fester in The Addams Family, as well as for playing Horton the Elephant in Seussical, for which he also received a Grammy nomination. Other Broadway credits include Chicago, a 2007 revival of Terrence McNally's The Ritz, and playing the Wizard in Wicked. Kevin can also be seen on television and on film, with credits that include such films as Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Road to Perdition, and The Prom, with Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and James Corden. TikTok users may recognize Kevin from that social media platform, where he has amassed over, now here it says 10 million, but he told me today it's over 10.1 million followers. And after today, I expect it to be 10.2. His award-winning videos include, among others, Anyone Can Cook, from Ratatouille, the TikTok musical, the first online crowdsourced musical, which raised over $2 million for the Actors Fund during the pandemic. The multi-talented Kevin also sings, and in 2013, he fulfilled a lifelong dream when he made his Carnegie Hall debut, singing with the New York Pops Symphony Orchestra. Kevin also has many TV credits to his name. And I'm betting, in fact I know, that most of you graduates will recognize him as the lovable butler, Bertram. Oh, you know it, yes. I guess I should just stop there and hand over the mic, right? But, yes. So, with that, for those of you who've been living under a rock, by the way, that is Disney Channel's long-running hit sitcom, Jessie. And by the way, I'm also a fan, thanks to my 14-year-old son. But now, please join me in giving a warm welcome home to one of our esteemed graduates and one of your fellow alumni, Kevin Chamberlain.
More than generous, really. Let me see a show of hands. Who knows who Mason Gross was? Yeah, so in preparing my speech for you today, I decided to look up who Mason Gross was. Funny, it never occurred to me to do that when I was here for 4 years. But then again, it wasn't easy, you know, I didn't have Google back then. I would have actually had to go to the library. The library. It's so fun. For those of you who don't know, that was Bertram's catchphrase. So in my Google search, I learned that Mason Gross was the president of Rutgers for 16, he was the 16th president. He was president from 59 to 71. And strangely enough, in the early 1950s, he was known as a top-notch panelist on TV quiz shows. Yeah, including Think Fast and Two for the Money. Yeah, who knew? Well, we all know now. And we're better for it. Use that information however you see fit. Now, I have very little memory of my commencement ceremony back in 1985. I certainly don't remember who spoke. Marshall, I just remember that I couldn't wait to pack my bags and get out of New Brunswick and move to New York, where I could start my career. So now, I couldn't afford New York, so I moved to Jersey City. As did all of my other classmates. We literally all lived within 3 blocks of each other in Jersey City. Now, I knew I had to get a day job quickly. Something that would give me quick cash, but also keep me free to audition and do readings and workshops and stuff. And I delivered fancy sandwiches to yuppies at Goldman Sachs. I was a telex operator at the World Trade Center. And I was the coat check guy at a huge disco called The Saint. But nothing could have prepared me for my first real acting job out of school, and that was being the miracle on 34th Street playing Santa Claus at Macy's department store. And this brings me to my first of 7 pieces of advice that I learned not at college, but in real life. And I'm going to impart those to you today. Number 1, be available for the unexpected. After an intense 2-week training course at Macy's, my first day of work finally arrived, and I'm led to the Santa throne, and I prepare myself to meet my first child. Now, little Amy walks into Santa's house, and much to my surprise, she is completely struck with this palpable wave of terror, joy, and awe. And I'm all 22 years old, fresh out of Rutgers, and I am suddenly thrust into this incredibly uncomfortable improv situation with a 6-year-old. The amount of power that she's giving me is immediately making me tense. She's deifying me. And what's worse, I've completely forgotten how to act. I'm not on stage or in an acting class. This is real life. Yet I'm playing a fictional character, but my scene partner is a real person in the real world who thinks I am real. No class could have prepared me for that. I remember the sweat dripping down my face through my beard as I muttered something that resembled, "What do you want to be for Christmas?" I completely ruined Amy's first visit to Santa. But something kicked in that day, and I remembered Sanford Meisner's brilliant definition of acting, which I'm sure you all know. Acting is being truthful under imaginary circumstances. I embraced that imaginary character of Santa Claus, and I made myself available for the unexpected. And for the rest of the Christmas season, I remembered to just talk and listen to the kids. And I ended up having a blast. And here's a little secret. If you ever play Santa, put a little peppermint candy in your mouth, and then when you talk to the kids on your lap, your breath will smell like Christmas. It works. I found so much joy playing Santa Claus, and that brings me to number 2, find the joy. And the dean just said this in his speech too. When I first started auditioning, I hated it. I wasn't having fun, my nerves were getting the best of me, and my auditions were completely joyless. I remember running into a fellow character actor, a guy named Richard Kind. Some of you might know him. He gave me the best advice. He said, love to audition. And this rule applies to any artist, a job interview, a dance audition, a music audition. Say to yourself, this is what I get to do today. Truly believe that you are the right person for the job. Part of finding that joy for me was not giving so much power to the people behind the table. When you walk into that room, try to remember that they want you to be good. All they're thinking is, please God, let this person be so brilliant that they make us rich. Go into that room thinking, relax, I got your back. Your worries are over. Look no further. Which brings me to number 3, be savvy. Now, the savviest artists that I've met are really good at reading a room. They're shrewd and they're astute. Be empathetic. Another thing that Dean talked about, empathy. Be empathetic to the rest of the people in the room, and they will be empathetic to you. Ultimately, it's not about your resume, or your performance, or your painting, or your sculpture, or your dance. It's about you. You are the commodity. You are selling you. And if you can be savvy and get into the head of the buyer, you're at a huge advantage. Here's an example. I walked into an audition room and noticed that everyone behind the table looked cranky and tired. It was obvious to me that they hadn't found what they were looking for. So just before my audition, I just spoke up and I said, before I do my reading here, is there anything you're specifically looking for that you haven't seen yet? And they all looked at each other, and the director said, you know what? Yes. Show us a little vulnerability. We haven't seen that all day. So I gave them some vulnerability. And guess who got the role? Not me. But they did give me another role in the movie. So, if you ask questions, you gain knowledge. And knowledge is power. Which brings me to number 4. Knowledge is power. Start your research before you enter the room. It'll inform the material that you use for your audition or your interview. It'll inform the style that you audition in, the velocity you attack the material with. Is it less or more, or is it more, or more is more? Is it Philip Glass, or is it Disney Channel? Right? Learn everything you can about the playwright, the screenwriter, the composer, the artistic director, the gallery curator, or whoever you're interviewing with. Knowledge is power. Number 5, embrace your quirks. Now, sometimes the thing that you hate about yourself is your best commodity. I was always a chubby kid, and I wasted so much time hating who I was. During my Mason Gross years, I learned that my weight made me a unique commodity. My teachers would always say, you're gonna work so much when you're older. And I was so envious of all my classmates who were getting big jobs right out of school. But I had to wait. Everyone has their own journey. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn. I still struggle with it to this day. But you never know why someone else gets a job. It could be the color of their hair. It could be that they have hair. The best thing you can do is surround yourself with positive and supporting friends. Look to your left right now. Look at the person to your right. Those are the people that are going to have your back, right? These are the people who will have your back. They will cheer your first triumph, and more importantly, they're going to comfort you when things aren't going so well. Lift up and support each other as you head out into that jungle. And most importantly, and here's number 6, I'm almost to number 7. Number 6, and Dean, you said this one too, go the extra mile. Go the extra mile. This was my dad's, oh no. This is what my dad taught me. He said, the secret to successful people is that they go the extra mile. Most people give 75 or 80%. Be the one that gives 110%, and they'll always remember you. Go out on a limb and do a weird low-paying job, because 9 times out of 10, it'll pay off in the long run, in a way you never saw coming. And if you find that it's not something you're able to bring anything to, you can always use my last piece of advice. Number 7, the law of 2 feet. If you find yourself in a situation where you're not learning and you're not contributing, it's your responsibility to use your 2 feet to find a place where your participation will be more useful and meaningful. Unhappy people are unproductive people. Look, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get fired. You're going to sleep with the wrong people. Trust me, you will. If you haven't already. But that's going to make you a better artist. And a better person. Trust me, it will. You learn so much more about yourself as an artist from your failures. I was on the Disney Channel, you might have heard of it, and I was on Jesse for 4 years, and one day I found myself on this set, looking at this 10-year-old co-star, you know who she is, thinking, wow, I have a Bachelor of Arts from Rutgers University, a Bachelor of Fine Arts in acting. And I'm standing next to a child who is doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. Being truthful under imaginary circumstances. And she's probably making more than me to boot. What other art form exists where a child can do exactly what you're doing? It's a brutal realization. But then I thought about it. There was something that separated me from that 10-year-old. Experience, street smarts, being savvy, power of knowledge, my confidence in my abilities, and joy. Plus, I have a BFA from a school named after a quiz show celebrity from the 1950s. That BFA set me up pretty well. And it set me up with the tools I needed to head out into this wild, scary, maddening, rewarding, wonderful world of the arts. It's a troubled world out there, and it needs you. It's waiting for artists like you to make it better. Show the world what you have to give. Because all I know for certain is that there's a blank page, a white canvas, an empty stage, waiting for you to fill it. So many possibilities. I can't wait to see what you have in store for us. Congratulations.